I'm real simple. I mean, like Farling said, he wants the unit mix, which I eventually want that information. But if it's a 20,000 square foot facility, I go into the spreadsheet. I put 200 10 by 10 units in the rate I think I can get. So I put that information in, what I think I can purchase, or the purchase price. If there is none, I kind of guess the loan info. And that's it, really. I think maybe one other thing, and it just pumps it out. And that's just wants to give me a good like temperature on the deal. And if the ROIs are kind of somewhere close and not, high negative cash flow for a few years, I might get more interested and then start to dive deep. So really the big thing I want is square footage, which I don't need the seller. Chris kind of hit on this yesterday, which is a great point. You're just pounding these sellers, and a lot of them have talked to other people, and I have them. They're like, dude, I'm not sending you all this shit until I know like we're kind of close. And so I've learned to like gravitate away from even asking for anything and keeping the conversation organic, so that when they're talking about like, I have some 10 by 10s at lower rates and the newer ones I'm high. I'm like, oh, what are like the high, just kind of like a natural, and like get that information. So really I'm looking for that, what they're charging if I can get it. But if I can't, that's okay too. Because I'm going off of what the new numbers are and I can guess on the starting numbers. So that's really it. I just want to know what I think I can get. Again, back to what kind of product I'm going to have to put out, because that's going to affect CapEx, expenses, all that, and possibly even the ramp up, which we'll get into a little. That's a big factor on what your end numbers are. So that's really it. I just want to get the rate. What rate? That's the biggest metric in it, where I can get it.
Sounds like you're subtle on the phone trying to get that information. Kind of like you had said, Chris.
Yeah. They'll give it to you. When they like you, they're like, oh yeah, my daughter, they're telling you about their whole family and how crazy they are like 20 minutes later. If they like you. If they don't, like Chris said, their bullshit meter's high, they're like, fuck off, and it's over.
Interesting. John, what about you?
Yeah, similar. I'm trying to build a relationship, so I do need the unit mix. But like what Terry said, either if they're cold on the phone, I'm going to try to go for the kill and try to get the unit mix right away. Or I'll try to build that relationship depending where it goes. But so yeah,
you try to get it if they're like cold?
Yeah, I'll try to. If they're like, well, I'll sell for the right number. I'll say, okay, well, we can keep this easy and just give me a unit mix and I'll give you my number. Damn.
All right.
It's probably
more. Take later?
He's right to the point. Yeah. I don't like that.
It works sometimes, but again, so for me, my goal is I want to schedule, so I come from sales. I want to schedule a meeting and meet them on site, build that relationship on site. Where I'm looking, I can do that.
And I think we talked about this too. That was like a little eye opener. Farling's like, if anybody wants to meet, regardless of price, right?
Yeah.
You go meet them.
Yep.
And I was in Alabama at one of my sites 2 weeks ago, and I called my assistant and my wife. I said, I'm down here for 2 days. Call everyone you can based on that conversation with you. And I said, tell them I'm in the area and I can meet with them. And that changed the whole temperature of the conversation. And I met with, I think, 3 people, probably drove by another 4 facilities, went up to one with a call box and just hit the call box, actually ran the owner's cell phone that I had already called earlier that day. Like I didn't know, he owned 3 facilities. And what I got from that was like, we're like, hey man, maybe once a quarter, we should just do like a marketing sprint and just call everybody in that market or send letters and say, hey, we're going to be here in 3 weeks. Like, can we meet? Yep. And that was like just kind of off that conversation. I know it's a little off topic, but getting face to face, I know I closed 2 deals like that because I got in front of them.
Yeah. Well, and they knew you were flying down there too, right?
Yeah, these are like deals that I started nurturing like a year ago. And I met with them and I didn't get the contract till 8 or 9 months later. Yeah, but they went with me because they knew me, know, like, and trust, right?
Yeah.
And when they don't know you,
it's
a no-brainer.
Am I doing good, Spear?
Yeah, so I just had one about a month ago. It was actually about 2.5 hours from me, and took basically my acquisitions guy, took him with me, and the seller was like, you guys didn't just drive up here to see me, right? And we're like, no, we did. And that really opened the door, and hopefully get the deal done.
Yeah. Ian, how about you?
I need the OM, the T12, management report, occupancy.
Use full words for us.
What?
Use full words.
Management report, the offering memorandum from the broker, the trailing 12. After I get the OM, offering memorandum, then I go back and say, hey, broker, I'm really interested in this. Do you have the management reports? The trailing 12, the only reason I care about the T12 is because I want to see the existing operational expenses and plug what I think is going to be more or less I love when brokers toss the OM out and they leave the depreciation as a part of a reduction of the NOI, and that's always a massive win for me. I love it. Or owner expenses in general, so that's why I check the T12 and then the occupancy statistics to give me an overall picture of how much churn there is. And then the last thing is I need something else. The unit mix or rent roll, usually in Excel format, so I can understand what's going on in the facility. That's what I need.
Really quick, what are you doing for your expenses? Are you using theirs?
I'm not using theirs, but I'm using what I think is. I use what I think is industry average. Yeah, on the quick read, I use their shit to see what's going on. On my read, my deeper dive read, I go in, obviously I think taxes is the number one thing that everybody should be cognizant of. Your taxes can potentially and will go up based on your new purchase price.
Let's stop there because you don't do price allocation, right?
Yeah, but you're still going up. You're still paying more for the facility most likely. Doesn't matter. If you price allocate, you're reducing your potential for your property taxes to be increased. You are giving up depreciation on some of the other side, and you could have a bigger taxable
You're accelerating your depreciation.
implication on the other side. However, your taxes will still go up. You're still going to get resized by depending what government, where you're operating. California, you're probably getting screwed. Don't use the word depends. I told you. No,
You just use it.
Yeah. I can't screw it. Whatever. But anyway, I forget where we were going. Anyway, you need the information, and that's it. But yeah, I use my expenses based on what industry averages are, or if we're buying in an existing area, what our operational expense is in that area.
Well, really quick, price allocation. Why don't you even try it?
It's not worth my time. To me, it's not worth it because you're doing that on the front side to save $1, and if you're gonna sell it, which a lot of people are looking to flip these, that 20% could potentially expose you to ordinary income and have to pay sales tax because you're selling a non-real property thing. You're selling whatever. You're selling a pen. You could potentially be taxed at whatever the sales tax rate for that area is. You're giving up depreciation. You're giving up a bunch of stuff that's just not worth it to me.